Yes, buying a new garage door does give you the best ROI, but what ROI can you do with your door now? Welcome to the Garage Authority podcast powered by A1. I'm your host, Jonithan Phillips, and returning, the strongest garage door technician in all of the world, the one and only Erich. And whenever I say this, the strongest garage door technician in the world, listen, one day, because I'm not the manliest guy, we have a motorcycle in the academy because we try and make the garages look as realistic as possible, and I don't know how to shift or move a motorcycle, and I think something was messed up to where it was actually like locked in place and we couldn't move it. I watched this man pick up a Harley and move it to a different bay barehanded, and that was the day I said, I'm so happy I have Erich as a friend and not an enemy. But the real reason we're bringing Erich on today, the accolades, been doing this for 16 years, right? He's traveled all over the nation and done garage door work just about in every single state that you can think of that's worthy. And then
That's worthy.
and then also he's one of our number one guys in parts that's helping technicians all over the nation order the actual parts needed for clients. So that's why we're bringing him on to talk about garage door upgrades and which ones are the most underrated that people don't know about. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. How are you, man?
Welcome back to the show. It hurts to give you high fives.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I can't help it.
Getting into the meat and potatoes, what is your favorite underrated garage door upgrade that clients don't know about?
When I was a technician, it was like a goal to walk in. If I saw that they were using that little bracket for the J-arm, they were getting an ORB. Operator reinforcement bracket.
Dude, people don't understand.
It is so underrated.
Yeah.
Just longevity speaking, you know, they saved that door probably 10 years easily, just from distributing that weight along that style. You're not ripping that style. You're not cracking out the panel. You get it in more even lift, just in general. So if you're helping that customer out extensively.
If you were explaining it to a client, because I say ORB, I know what you're talking about, and technicians know. But for customers that are listening, how do you explain the ORB and the importance of a top strut? Like, how does it work on the door? What do you mean by that?
So the way I explained it was it's an operator reinforcement bracket. What it does is it spreads the pulling factor of the motor over that whole style. You also create a T reinforcement with that top strut because it ties in behind. So the weight distribution from that pole is spread out across the whole top of that panel.
Instead of just that
little point where I couldn't tell you how many times I walked into a garage and I saw that thing ripped off and customers like, what do I do now?
What percentage of cracked top panels do you think is completely associated with not having an ORB and a top strut?
The top panel being cracked at the center of the door? Every.
I would say almost every as well.
100%.
I would say that is the number one reason that your top panel, if you go out into your garage and it's cracked, is because at one point it didn't or it doesn't have an ORB and a top strut.
Yeah, exactly. Every single door, like single car door, strut, and an ORB.
Yes.
If they have an operator on that single door, it's getting a strut.
Yeah. Any door that has an overhead operator needs a strut and ORB, 200%. Now, how do handles and hardware change things for a client's door or a client's home?
It boosts the curb appeal. I mean, if done properly.
What do you mean by that? What have you seen?
One thing I really like is they do make the magnetic hardware.
Yes.
One of my garage door buddies had that hardware, on a nice, stamped door, but like a beadboard style, carriage house style door.
Lots of depth.
I would go to his house and I would rearrange the hardware on it. Like when he wasn't home, I would rearrange the hardware to make like a smiley face. You just kind of have to be more cognizant of like the magnetic hardware. As a technician, it was kind of nerve-wracking to put in the other style hardware where you screw it onto the door.
You got to be on point.
Because if you're not, I'm out there with my laser level, just making sure just that they're not crooked. But installed properly would be in the right places, because to get like that barn house effect that those handles are going for, you really need to have them in the right place to make sense, and it just looks off if they're not.
So I think the only time where I've installed hardware and like put in effort where I didn't like it, as I was in Julian, California, and they had a scored door on a hill.
Oh, yeah. Those are fun.
And so the hardware, it just looked off, because a scored door, for people that don't know, it's whenever like the door's on a hill as far as like being sideways, so then the bottom panel has to be cut at an angle so it's flush. And the hardware kind of looked ridiculous on it. And he said, I want another strap on as low as you can on that other side. So instead 2 on this side, and then he made me put 3 down this side. And it's what he wanted. But I was like, that looks insane. But it's always about what the client wants. But that was the one.
Those scribe doors are ridiculous. San Francisco.
Yeah.
Those are
everywhere. So how do you feel about window kits, and when it's worth it, or if it's worth it?
It's really up to what the client wants. But me personally, I would not put a window section in on my garage door. Couple reasons. Pandor, it's a flimsier. It makes the door flimsier.
Yeah.
On a Pandor, so you end up running into a situation where that top section just cracks uncontrollably. It doesn't matter how strong you make it, you really mess up that door having window sections.
Yeah.
And then even on insulated doors, it really just washes your R value out completely. If you live in a cold climate, a lot of these window sections, unless you want to pay the outrageous price for like double pane glass or insulated glass, which you can.
Just understand, if you're going to do it, like, go for it.
Colder climates, you get single pane glass, cold's seeping in through that door.
Yeah.
Hotter climates, like here in Arizona, turns into a giant magnifying glass.
Yeah.
So it really just bakes that garage.
So if you were even going to kind of be happy with it, you would want double paned, insulated, and tinted?
What? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But, it really boils down to that price point. You're looking at possibly thousands of dollars just to put a window section in.
Right.
For what? A little bit of sunlight?
Yeah.
If I wanted sunlight, I'd just open my garage door, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's just my personal take on it.
I'm sure there's others that feel that way too.
Not to mention, from a security standpoint,
Yeah.
I prefer not to have windows.
Yeah.
Someone tall like me walks by your garage. I see everything in your garage at that point. And I have some higher end stuff in my garage, so I don't want people knowing that it's in there. Makes it an easy target for someone to break in. Someone who's got experience can break in your garage.
Like less than 10 seconds?
Less than 10 seconds by just smashing out a window and pulling that emergency release.
Right. So definitely tinted, obscure, something if you're going for the aesthetic, but really make sure you know the pros and cons, which is really unfortunate, because for Christmas I was going to get you a full view door, but I guess that's out of it, I guess.
I mean, if you want. I know a guy.
Okay. Now, the biggest thing that I see on YouTube, and that this is the number one DIY that I see that people do on doors, is either installation kits themselves or for a company. I can get the reason why clients want it, but they should understand the cons. Can you explain that to clients?
The installation kits sold by, the big box stores, they have good intentions. It's a pain in the rear to work on.
Yeah,
or even install.
Right.
Even like professional installation kits that, a technician would get from a vendor and install, it's a pain in the rear too.
Yeah, a lot of them break in the process.
Like the vinyl back installation kits, it's styrofoam. It creates a mess. If you're off just a little bit, it just looks horrendous. Especially, you know, with someone like me who's a perfectionist when I'm doing work. If I make that wrong cut just barely, I'm going insane. You know, some of these big box stores, they sell installation kits, and what clients, customers don't understand is whenever you do that, you're changing the weight of that door. Even if it's styrofoam. There are other kits like that pink stuff. It adds 40 plus pounds to the door. That stuff is ridiculously heavy, especially when it gets wet. Just the condensation buildup on that, you know, that door during the morning will cause that insulation to get wet, and you're throwing that door off considerably. So you're looking at new springs now too, that kind of thing. So you have to be really cognizant if you're doing that DIY project, what you're doing to that door, and getting a good understanding of the mechanics behind it. Because if you don't, you're looking at a more costlier project down the road.
I mean, you know, you go get the insulation for whatever price you think you're getting a smoking deal, and I'm sure there's some people out there that have done some sort of insulation that might not even have been designed for the door. They're like, oh, it's worked fine for me, but that's one person. You know, how many jobs do we see a day to where the insulation didn't work out, springs broke a little bit faster, motors got burnt out, door crashed, and it's like, you wanted a 5-degree difference in your garage, and now you have to buy a new door because it crashed so hard.
They think it's because it's styrofoam. Oh, styrofoam doesn't weigh a lot. Well, if you spread it out over, you know,
a 21 by 8 foot tall door or something like that.
You're looking at 16 to 20 pounds when our springs are designed for the weight of the door. So if we installed those springs before you did that, they don't have that IPPT calculated. IPPT is inch pounds per turn. For those who don't know, that's how we calculate the size of the springs we need. If you're adding that extra weight, those springs aren't designed. You're speeding up that process. So you have to be really thoughtful in your product selection, or you have to take that into consideration when you're installing that. Being a perfectionist, I don't like the kits. And all they just make it look rough, and it's not worth the 5-degree change.
If I did any we're not going to be able to stop everybody from doing DIY, and there's some people that do DIY successfully, no matter how much, you know. If you're going to do DIY on your door, at least have a professional company come out and check the door after you're done.
At
minimum,
at
if
least
you're going
get
to do
a
it.
scale under the door to see, you know, you want that door to be pretty well balanced, and if it's not, you're looking at way costlier repairs down the road.
It'll get huge. Now, switching over, kind of talked about the mechanical side of it, getting a little bit more techy. What are some like tech add-ons that clients don't know about that could really improve the quality of life as far as using their door?
Oh, the way today's culture.
We got 2 hours. We can
It's really gone leaps and bounds, even in the last 10 years. We'll say. Some of these manufacturers, it's becoming a lot more common for like garage door openers. You got MyQ from LiftMaster, you got Aladdin Connect from Genie. Lanier just came out with a variation of like the app where you can open and close and monitor your garage door, kind of like the Ring doorbell, or some of those other, you know, camera-based systems for your garage door. So you have remote access for, you know, the nanny to get in, or the house cleaner, or, you know, Uncle Bob when he comes into town if you're not home, that kind of thing. It's really cool in the fact that they're partnering with some of these companies, Walmart and some of these other companies are
like Amazon
and everybody, where you can actually have your packages or your groceries delivered in the garage. If you have like a fridge in the garage, they'll just put it in there for you. You know, it's a little scary to some of our clientele, but it's really kind of mind-blowing being a technician and staying on top of this, how much it's progressed in the last 10 years, from like an AC motor to a DC style motor for quietness and everything like that. Just these little upgrades going from an AC motor to a DC. I can't tell you how many clients were like, oh my God, that motor is so much more quiet.
Yeah, I didn't know motors could get.
Oh, by the way, did you know about the mic cue that this motor comes with? Or,
right.
Just the bells and whistles and operators and garage doors. They're coming up with crazy ideas every day.
What would you say, because that leads to another question. I know you've dealt with this before, but there's definitely some people out there, like, they almost view a garage door being controllable from your phone as much as like AI Skynet, whatever. You know what I mean? But like, if you could explain, if you could explain to people, like LiftMaster just upgraded their security with their new systems. Like, if you could explain the security to people,
the way I explain it is the way you have to, when you set it up, it's a 3-phase authentication. You have to have a password for the app. You have to have a password for the Wi-Fi in the house. So whoever's trying to get on that is going to need to have those two things. And then you have the security of the actual motor itself.
Right.
So having 3-phase authentication, it's almost as secure, if not more secure, than your online banking account if you do that online. So the reality is Joe Schmo isn't walking around with, a device. They do have devices out there, but it's a very niche community.
Those type of people are wanted by the government.
Pretty much. Or they work for the government. So
either way.
Just random Joe Schmo. He's not going to be able to just, the misconception is, someone's just walking through with a remote. They're not going to be able to do that with the new style systems.
Now, this is kind of hard to encompass, but I feel like you're the guy to do it. With all these types of upgrades, what do you think that does for the ROI or return on investment for people that get these upgrades?
Like for me personally, my house was introduced as like a smart home. So it had integration, every room kind of thing where it's wired with, that's where everybody's going. Because we're such a technology-based society, we kind of, in our industry, we're having to keep up with that. So being able to provide the, capabilities for that control, it's just the way of the future. With AI coming into play and, everybody's trying to make life a little less complicated with the apps and everything. It's just the direction that our society is going, and as an industry, we're keeping up with it.
Yeah, dude. Longevity, ROI.
That's all it is the return on investment. You put that money into it especially like an older door.
Easy peasy whenever you sell.
You're looking at 15,000 plus on just your ROI for your house value.
Yeah, as far as a whole, if you can get it all integrated, especially with MyQ, with the cameras, with doorbell, smart home locks, everything.
It just boosts that 15,000.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy day. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No problem, man.
Appreciate you.